My riding journey?
Yes, Reise.
Well, it all started with
Which was the first race that you participated in? And
I started touring, and within the year, I covered the length and breadth of the country.
what was that one thought got into you that, you know what, touring is amazing, but now I want to race also? This graph that I'm looking at, that you started as a rider and then you were touring and then racing and then, okay, designer too, and there's snowboarding too. Lovely.
You just mentioned my dream scenario.
Yes, I thought you know. Understand is, what is that one big thing for Tanaya Singh now? Hey everyone, welcome to ReiseMoto Lounge, where we bring you stories of everything spirit of motorcycling and especially about the riders who break the barriers and redefine the limits. Today in this podcast, we not only have somebody who has done that as a rider, but as a racer as well. Tanaya Singh. Welcome Tanaya, and thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Sure. So we are shooting this in the newly opened Pune stores. So the first question that I have for you is, how did you like the store in Pune?
I think, first of all, again, thank you so much for having me over here. And it was great to be invited also for the store opening here in Pune. Clean and crisp. That's what I'd like my first impression to be of the store.
Wow.
And knowing that Reise is like a tire brand, a manufacturer who manufactures tires within India itself, but it also brings out all these international products to the country and making it accessible to the riding community is really great. It's like you have everything under one roof.
Right.
And that's really great for us.
Right. So, Tanaya, whenever you started as a rider, and a special mention also, whenever she started as a racer as well, you must have imagined that these are the kind of helmets that I want, these are the pair of gloves that I really dream of. And, considering how you started as a rider and a racer, and now we have all of it in under one roof. So how does that feel now?
It feels really great because as having good riding gears in India really can be difficult because it having to be also safe but yet stylish.
Yeah.
So having all of it under one roof, as you mentioned, is really great because then you can pick and choose and not compromise really just because you can't really get anything.
Exactly. That's a good point. Speaking of you not only being a rider but a racer as well, where did it all start for you?
My riding journey?
Yes, Reise.
Well, it all started with just me wanting to learn how to ride a bike, to probably break the stereotype and do something that is cool for my age when I was 18 back then.
Okay.
And it was during the lockdown time. And I started learning how to ride. Then I got my first bike, which was a Duke 390. And I started touring. And as soon as touring became kind of mundane for me, I quickly wanted to learn this as a sport. I was introduced to the Dakar Rally at the time.
Right.
And I have a really supportive father. And he was the one who introduced me to the world of motorsports. And he was as excited in my journey as well as I was.
Okay.
And that's when I also met Ashish Raurane because that time he was holding the adventure training sessions. And it clicked for me right over there. Because when I started training with him, I realized what it is like to do this sport in like a very intense form and wanting to learn it very in a very technical way.
Right.
And knowing how to get it right. And obviously it was like a natural progression for me from touring on the road to actually doing it in an intense form that is rallying in India.
Okay, so usually what we have seen in, as a trend, if I may say so, is that you start riding a motorcycle and you suddenly get that spark, suddenly get it that, what, I want to start touring, what, I want to get into racing. So it was unusual, yet special, and it happened, in this scenario, it happened that you started riding and you maybe started, with touring. And what was that one thought, or what was that one ride or that tour that you were doing when it got into you that, what, touring is amazing, but now I want to race also, and especially off-road or on-road? How did that go? What was the thought process there?
Well, there was not one instance, I would say. It kind of happened gradually over time. But also my journey has taken like a turn very fast because I started touring and within the year, I covered the length and breadth of the country. So I have done Run of Kutch, I have done Ladakh, which was my first trip at the age of 18. I have done Dhanushkodi, I have done Northeast. So within the year, I had really experienced a lot of on-road riding, and slowly, I kind of decided, because I had a bike that was capable to do so,
Right.
I could go on some off-roading trails nearby. And Pune being a place where you have like a lot of access to these trails,
Yes.
I got a taste of what it's like to be riding in dirt.
Huh.
And since then, I wanted to kind of pursue it more seriously and like kind of learn the techniques and get things right.
Okay.
And that's how I started like racing from there.
So there was some point, I wouldn't call it point now that you said that it was not one instant that it started. There was a phase when you started thinking that it got into you that, while I am doing this touring, there should be some tinge of competitiveness to it too. That's when you started training with Mr. Ashish Rao Rane, and then the competitiveness part started getting into it, and then you started racing, right? Which was the first race that you participated in, and after that race, what was that thought when you went back that there was a time when I started touring, and this is the first race that I've participated in. What was that day like?
So again, I didn't want to just participate into a race because I wanted to be fully prepared for it.
Right.
And that's how I started training with Ashish. In about 6 months of me training, I took part in my first race, which was the last round of the Indian National Rally Championship, which took place in Nasik.
Right.
I wanted to just see where I placed when it comes to, competing with the real racers who are currently doing it out there, and like, how much do I need to work on if I have to do a next season. And over there in that rally, I managed to place first by, however, like I don't know what I should say, luck or by my like hard work. But that was like where it clicked everything, and I was like, this is what I want to do. And it gave me kind of a taste of the world of motorsports and how it really is this high intensity atmosphere that I really want to be in.
Okay.
So since then, I started going and competing in the championship, and that was really great.
These were the races that you started with, and in between these races, do you also go over the weekends, or maybe not over the weekends, because the races are usually over the weekends, right?
Yeah.
In the weekdays, do you also try, apart from your practicing time, do you also try some touring, some doing long distances within the city, out of the city? How does that go?
So as I mentioned, like I sort of got found roads very mundane once I started off-roading, because it also felt like I'm taking risk unnecessarily. And if you ask a lot of racers, they don't prefer really riding on road. So I had like a kind of a mindset shift when I started racing, because then I didn't feel the need to be riding my bike on road. So that's where right now my focus is entirely on racing, and I'm on the bike when I am racing.
Okay. So given an opportunity tomorrow, you get a 1200cc and you are asked to do a Khardungla ride in next, let's say good 31 days. Would you not do it?
31 days for Khardungla?
Yeah. From, let's say, Pune, Kanyakumari, Kolkata, Delhi, Khardungla.
I had done it in 8 days. So 31 days seems like a lot, but possibly you could explore a lot of destinations along the way.
Exactly.
I possibly would go for it, because if it's all sponsored, but if there was a choice, I would always pick to do this tour in my car. I would always want to pick my car on the road, not bike, if I had the option. But if I get some opportunity, I'm not someone who's going to just let it go. Like, I would like to experience it for sure.
That was going to be my next question, that usually when people want to tour or explore the country, they usually take their car out. Would you prefer a motorcycle or a car, which I have got an answer of. But the subset for that question I have is, you would prefer, you wouldn't mind driving a car and exploring the country out there, right? But would you, if given an option with a carrier, a car that has a carrier where you can plonk your bike and then take it to places, maybe ride a little bit and plonk it back in the car and then explore again. How does that idea sound to you?
You just mentioned my dream scenario.
Yes, I thought about that.
Because that's something that I've always missed whenever I have gone on trips, because I have gone on trips with my pickup truck, but what I miss is really my bike. And even if I haven't gone with a pickup truck or any other car or just traveled by flight, it's just I have always missed my bike. I go into these beautiful destinations up north or even down south, and I'm just like, I wish I had my bike over here to experience in different terrains, and that would just make the trip so much more better.
This has happened with me a couple of times whenever I tour on, let's say, a Triumph Tiger or a 800cc that has tires for touring. Let's say I'm passing through Rajasthan and I see a desert. You obviously are tempted to pin it and get into the desert and spend some nice time riding there and come out. Given the options that you have and the tires, the limited tires that you have, you can't really do that in the deserts, which you can if you have a car, considering this idea. You have a car and you have tires like the torqRs, which we are going to get to. It becomes even more convenient to drive to that place, do some, maybe have some fun off the road in the deserts, and then come back, plonk it in the car, and then carry on with your drive. Speaking of torqR tires, you participated in UDC, right? And used the Reise torqR tires. Would you like to put some light on the experience part of it?
Sure. I mean, I took part in UDC last year with Reise, and that was actually my first introduction to Reise, and I was pleasantly surprised. It was when it was coming out new, and to know that Reise tires were made with like a European standard, because Mitas, of course, and it's also manufactured in India, which makes it very accessible for our community over here. It was really great. And as for the experience on the tires, it surprised me because it was not only versatile, because I could, not just the sand dunes, but I could use it on the hard pack surfaces as well. But also at the same time, it's quite durable. I have not seen like tires that are also good and durable. Either they wear out really fast or they are really not a great compound. So they don't give you the amount of traction you really require.
Right.
And Reise kind of hits the spot really nice and balances it all out quite well.
Exactly. That's torqR tires for you, by the way. Speaking of races and the tires that you have used, the Reise torqR tires that you used, which was the most difficult part of the race that you imagine, which you must have done in the past already. But given the tires that you used, that particular phase on that particular race was something else for you.
So if I'm talking about the most difficult race that I've had so far, it has to be the UDC, because it was my first time experiencing the harsh terrains of riding on sand versus the environment and the climate. It was like really hot, and it really tested my endurance. But having tires that really supported you, because tires, I mean, everyone knows about it. It's the most important thing when you're riding, because it's the only point of contact to the ground. And having confidence in your tires is very crucial, because that really directly is proportional to how you perform in the race. And knowing that I had like fresh, brand new Reise tires that I know people have experienced it and I've told really great things about, I was confident to, like, that's not something I'm going to be concerned about for my race, and I could just focus on really riding and do other things.
Wow, that's a good thought. So speaking of focus, let's talk about the equipment now that we have established that, which is rightly put, that because tire is the only point of contact when you're performing out there, it is the other side of the safety also that we have to think of, which is the gear part.
All right.
Right. So of course you have to have a reliable motorcycle. You have to have a tire that is performing and has the longevity as well. How do you select a gear for you? What is the first thought that goes into what are the factors that you consider, and what are the things that you look at?
I mean, being in motorsports as a racer, you really can't compromise on safety.
Absolutely.
So that is first and foremost. But what I like to believe in also, gears being safe, it also has to be comfortable. Just because something is really, really safe and it's not comfortable for me, it might protect me from a crash,
Right.
but it also could be the reason that I am crashing. So you have to, again, find the right balance between having safe gears, but versus also having comfortable gears that would make sure that you are comfortable on your bike and it's not obstructing you in any way.
Right.
So that's really important for me when I'm looking for my gears.
Speaking of this point, I can see a little POV of a designer here. And we have also learned that after digging a little bit in, her bio and trying to learn about Tanaya, we found out that she is also a designer. We would like to know more about that as well, please.
So I have always been an artist all my life, and that's my first passion.
Okay.
Up until I found riding. Then that kind of just took a back seat because being an artist is quite contrast to what I do as a rider, right? Because it's completely different lifestyles and things that demand
Right.
for the six. So basically, I graduated as a fashion designer, and currently I am into graphic design as well. So even the top I'm wearing, actually I designed and stitched myself.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so like it's something that I'm really passionate about.
Okay.
Moreover, just design as a whole. So right now, I just graduated last year from my college.
Right.
And yeah, it's just a great, but it's kind of taken a backseat because riding has to have my full-time focus currently.
Of course. That is where my next question is going to enter, is that I want to look at 1 week of Tanaya Singh. How is that 1 week of yours, starting from a good Monday morning with that nice coffee to that Sunday night? I want to understand what that week is like. As a rider, racer, tourer, designer, as a nobody, just chilling for a day, etc.
I mean, because I train with Ashish, he has a very intense training schedule and he looks after things very holistically. So my week is completely planned out as per my training. So I train on the bike like thrice a week. And then off-bike work is also equally very important when you are going to be racing, because that looks after your endurance, your strength and your stamina and things like that. So obviously gym every day,
Okay.
barring a day where I take rest for myself. And in my free time is when I am designing and working on multiple various projects. It could be something for freelance. It could be either my college project. And my favorite pastime would be like going to a cafe
Right.
and ordering a milkshake because I don't have coffee.
Okay.
And kind of working over there on my laptop and probably getting lost into the world of design for that few moments till I have to get back again, come out of that world,
Right.
and kind of get back to riding or gymming or doing anything of that.
So apart from a rider, a racer, a designer, there's another point coming in. You are also interested and have been doing or are also into snowboarding. So there's another point that you want to put some light on.
Well,
What is snowboarding now? Where does it come from?
I am not into snowboarding. I'm sorry about that, but I'm not into it's something that I have recently picked up because I have found it like I've seen a lot of my friends do it, and that's something again that again like I was curious about and I wanted to learn. So I do intend to go and do it more often now that I have had a taste of it. Again, it's like a high adventure sport. And I've always been active all my life in various sports and I like to go into it in depth. So I think snowboarding is something also I would take up as a hobby in my off time.
Wow. Okay. There's this graph that I'm looking at that you started as a rider and then you were touring and then racing and then, okay, designer too. And then snowboarding too. Lovely. So these are the things that we spoke about the past. Last but not the least, the one question that I want to understand is what is that one big thing for Tanaya Singh now?
So right now, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
That's a really heavy question right now, right here. So right now I have to plan my year ahead because as racers, we go on from one season to another. And this time the season is starting, say, in June, July. So I have like considerably a lot of time beforehand to not just focus on riding probably, but also focus my other career paths in life, like as designing I mentioned.
Right.
Currently, my focus is to not just train or ride in the Indian National Rally circuit, but also probably have a training session or a race that's abroad. That's my goal for the year, and that's all I can say about it right now. Rest is, I'm planning some things, and actually,
Of course.
it's all a work in progress, so I can't really much talk about it right now.
Sure. Okay. Now, if I look at your journey, there was a point when you started as a rider and then you got into touring like we spoke about. And throughout this journey, something must have motivated you. Maybe it could be a rider or one of your friends or some idol or maybe nothing or nobody. Maybe just as simple as a motorcycle or yourself in a mirror. I don't know that. What was that motivation, first of all, for you? What it has been? And considering that motivation, what is that one message that you want to give to all the aspirers today? Especially the young, the budding ones.
Well, motivation is nothing in particular, I would say again. It's not a person or not like myself or anything. It's like a group of individuals that I'm surrounded with, be it my trainer, that's Ashish, be it my father, who's a great support, be it my colleagues, like my friends who are my teammates, like Tanika. And all of these people have kind of contributed to my experience over here, and they're constant motivation. Like I look up to them for various reasons. And that's what has kept me going into this sport.
Wow.
So, and a message that I would give everyone out there who probably are in the sport or maybe want to join this sport, even as a woman, it might be intimidating from the outside because I was an outsider 3 years back looking into the sport and I wanted to do it. But the first thought I had was, Dad, are you crazy? Like, how could I? But if you have the right support and you have that right determination that you want to do this,
Yes.
it's something you can definitely get into it. And I know the community is really supportive.
Yeah.
And there are people at every corner who are ready to help you. So if you have it, just like, gear up and do it. I think you'll be fine then. And I'm pretty sure anyone and everyone will enjoy it.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Tanaya. Thank you for your time, first of all, for all the messages too, and disclosing us to this fact that you do not have to stick to just one part of your passion. You could be a tourer today, you could be a designer tomorrow, as snowboarding and anything that you want to do in the next 1 year or 5 years too. So here's wishing you good luck to all your touring, exploring ideas that you have for all the races and the projects, everything that you're going to do in the future. Us wishing you good luck. And to all our listeners, as we rightly mentioned, that it is not one source of inspiration that you have to get into or get out of as well. So yes, that's Tanaya Singh for you. Thank you for your time as well. Do visit our website www.reisemoto.com to explore all the products that we have for you. the budding racer in you, the budding rider in you. And as I mentioned earlier also, this is the Pune store that is newly launched. That please do pay a visit to your local store as well to unshackle the power of Reise and the racer in you. Thank you.